Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James. It's time for another installment of my personal games. In this game, I'm playing against one of the strongest players in our Wednesday night tournament, Jason Loving. A very good player. He's definitely gotten me before. And in this game, well, I had a very good position against him. I make a mistake and did not get into a good position. And well, I was able to hold him to a draw by using the fortress idea. Let's take a look. Here we go. We started with d4, knight f6. I'm playing with the white pieces. Knight f3, g6, bishop f4, bishop g7. We have the London system versus the King's Indian defense, which I know he likes to play. h3 here. Castles, e3, d6, c4. Definitely one of the best ways to play if you do play the London system against King's Indian. Might as well grab a little bit more space. Knight b, d7, knight c3, a6. A very interesting move. I can't say I had seen this idea before. Bishop b2, queen e8. A very interesting move here, which gets used quite a bit. Standard idea. The idea is to help prepare e5, e4 without moving the rook over because, well, remember in the King's Indian, we want to play f5 and e5 at some point and start a kingside storm. So, castles here, e5. Pawn takes, pawn takes. I like to do this pawn take just because, well, because he wants to go for the king's attack, kingside attack over here, opening up the center will give me good counterplay. In this game with the London system, I'm definitely not going to be going kingside since, well, he says he wants to go that way. And, well, he has plenty of reason to do it, and he has plans for it. I'm going to be going queenside and also in the center. I mean, the only time I could ever really go kingside here is if he makes a mistake. Bishop back to h2, queen to e7, and here I could not help but I had to play knight to d5 here. Maybe not the best move here, but getting a tempo off the queen is something I like. And of course, I'm hoping that he'll take on d5, which he did. And after c takes d5, now I've got something I want. I've got the open c file, which is attacking on the queen side. Here, he could definitely play something like f5 and start pushing. But I do believe this will make his king side a bit weak, and even the e6 square right here. And yeah, a computer would give this a +2 advantage already. So c takes on d5. Right now, the game is about equal. He played knight c5, and I sat it for a little while trying to consider how I'm supposed to be pushing forward. I'll go ahead and leave this to you. What move do you think is best here for white? Should we play pawn b4, rook c1, or queen to c2? Each one does have their merits, but I ended up choosing, well, one I thought that gave me very good prospects. All right, remember, feel free to press pause if you want to, play the game. Well, in this one, computer gives best move, rook to c1, which I can definitely agree with. Here, the idea is just to put the rook on the good file and get out of the way of this bishop over here. So, well, this was the best move to be played. I went ahead and played something else. I went ahead and played pawn b4. I really like this move because I'd seen after knight e4, I can play queen c2 with a double attack on the knight and also on the c7 pawn. And here I realize f5, well, although it looks like a good move, it just doesn't work here due to g4. So a little bit of trickery here in the game. He did see this, of course, and he did not play that. Instead, he played pawn to f5. And here I end up getting my rook to c1 anyways. Rook a c1, rook to f7, only good way to defend the pawn, and queen to b3. Here, I'm definitely trying to look for these kind of ideas, but really, I'm trying to prepare a4, b5, and also get out the way, maybe bring my rook over to the fd1. This knight d6 move is quite annoying right here. And well, I was really trying to figure out how to break through. I feel like I have a very good position, but hey, there's still plenty of counterplay here for black. Pawn f4 got played, and this is actually a mistake here, allowing me to get a very good position. Already you can see that, well, most of my pieces are already very well developed, and well, definitely the knight's his best piece. These pieces, the bishop's decently placed. The rook and queen are definitely not in their best places, and the bishop and rook are not ready to come into the game yet. But that's probably one of the ideas he wanted to play f4 here, was because he was trying to get the bishop out. With that being said, he helps activate my last piece and help me penetrate through the center. What do we play here? Let's open this game up. E takes f4, e takes f4, e takes f4, rook to e1, and now I'm threatening ideas about moving the bishop for discovery against the queen and a pin on the knight. Well, here he went ahead and played one of the best moves, or second best move here, queen to f6. And, well, here I found the best move, rook to c4 here. Rook c4 is putting pressure on the knight and also the pawn here on f4. And this is completely winning now with a +3 advantage. With that being said, this is where I made my mistake. He played a good move. He played rook e7 to defend. And here, after thinking for quite a while, there were so many moves that I was interested in that I just chose the wrong one. And I got a little too anxious here. When you're playing your chess games, try not to be worried about the time so much. At this point, I had 51 minutes. He had 59 minutes. It's not something that really should be bothering me right now is the time. Especially if you get this answer correctly, the rest of the game can be winning. But I know I was calculating lots of lines here. The main one being bishop to d3, which I did not play. And, well, looks like computer doesn't like this move anyways. The idea of bishop d3 was to put pressure on the knight and also put pressure on f4. Here, it actually falls for the same thing that I fell for in the game. I won't show you the move, but you'll see it pretty soon. And so after looking at this for quite a while, I missed the idea completely. Here, I did look at the idea of d6, but I just thought it just didn't work, but computer gives us a +4 advantage. D6 here, I thought that after this, the knight could take back. Is that what I'm thinking here? Knight takes on d6, and I thought rook takes f4 check, and bishop to e6. Rook takes f6, bishop takes on b3. And, well, I didn't see what was the big deal here, but I missed the final stroke here. Rook takes on d6, and now I'm just going to be up an extra piece here. And, well, I feel bad for missing this one. It was a long combination, but still something I should be seeing. And, well, again, I just missed the idea here, and I ended up looking at the next move, and I said, I'll just play this one. I played bishop f1. All right, your turn. Black to move and get a better position. The tactic that I missed here. All right, hopefully you found it. Here you get the very nice move of knight to d2. And why wouldn't you be looking at this move? This knight is forking literally all my pieces right here. It's just attacking all my pieces over here. And of course, well, the knight can take, but the knight's overloaded here. It's trying to defend d2 and also my rook here on e1. All right, here's your decision-making time again. White to move. What is the best move here? I was able to play this, although I did not know it was as good as it was. Maybe I would have gotten a win out of this situation instead of a draw. White to move. What's the best move in this situation? Those who are saying knight takes d2, this move is okay. After rook takes e1, the game is not as good as I'd like it to be, and black does have a pleasant advantage. The bishop will be coming out soon, and once the rooks get control, well, the advantage will be there. All right, so what do you play here? Believe it or not, it's time for a queen sack. Here, rook takes on e7. Knight takes b3, and the only move that gives it the combination, rook takes on c7. So now we have a double attack against the knight and also the bishop on c8. Of course, I would have liked to have doubled my rooks here, but after the simple move of bishop f8, well, now the rook's being attacked and giving time for the knight to escape. I had looked at rook to e8 here, excuse me, but I did not think this was going to be strong enough. Knight to d4, knight takes, queen takes, and yes, you can take on c8, but after rook takes, yeah, this passed pawn is going to fall, and if this passed pawn falls, it's just going to be bad for me. And here, as in the regular game, he will play a very strong move of something like g5 here. And because this bishop cannot get into the game, it's the two pieces versus the queen and bishop, and it should be a very easy win here with a good advantage for black. Back to the game. Here I went ahead and played the move of rook takes on c7. And here, well, he played bishop to f5. And here I missed another good chance for me to play this game. Here I ended up taking a takes b3, which is fairly normal. Here I win back the piece. Computer's giving this about equal position here. Before it was giving me a little bit better. If I had tried the idea, bishop takes on f4. And I must say this is a very nice and tricky move. The knight really has nowhere good to move to, and also the threat is bishop to e5 here, and maybe I can penetrate on the 7th rank. Well, maybe I'll see this next time. I did not play this move. Unfortunately for me, after bishop f5 I took, and then he played the very wise move of g5, and again my bishop is just trapped out. If my pieces can get active here, I could definitely win this game. And here, well, let's go to move forward. Rook takes on b7, winning a pawn, but also threatening to double up rooks over here. Again, the game is about equal here. Bishop f8, rook to c6. I had considered rook to c7 here, but I decided not to do it because of the strong move of queen a1 and bishop to d3 idea. And because the bishop on g7, the bishop on f8 here guards g7 here, yep, this is just winning here for black. Knight takes g5, bishop d3, and it's pretty much game over. Bishop takes f4, queen takes f1 check, king takes, and I guess something like queen takes f2, and yep, not the best here. Oh, actually here bishop b5 would give me some good checking chances. Here, all black has to do is stop that and play the simple move rook to e8. Again, very, very complicated situation. So I ended up playing the rook to c6 here, attacking the queen. The idea is to try and take the pawn on g5. He played what I thought he'd play, the queen to a1. Same idea is to play bishop d3. Again, game's about equal here. Rook b c7, bishop d3. I'll play rook to c1. Pawn to h6, pawn to h4, and this ends up being a very bad move and a blunder. Here he takes advantage of it perfectly. g4, rook to c1, queen to f6, and this is what I missed here. I played rook c6, and now it was black to move and win my piece. Queen to g7 for a nice double attack here. Here, the pawn's attacking the knight, but also the main idea is to play g3 here. So I got to make a choice which piece I want to keep. Here I decided to keep the bishop. Pawn takes, and here a little tempo to win a pawn here on h6. Queen to h7, and I try not to make trades here, so I played bishop to g5 here. Simplifying the position will only help out black and give him the advantage. Yeah, here it's like a negative... Well, actually, only a negative 1.2 here. I'm actually getting into the fortress idea pretty soon. So after bishop g5, bishop d3, he forced off some trades. I was kind of happy to see this move. Bishop takes, rook c3, queen takes, and rook takes. Yes, I did lose my passed pawn, but here the fortress idea is already being formed. Do you know what the fortress idea is? Very simple. Here, typically what we're trying to do is we're going to trade off all pieces. So I'm going to trade the bishops off. I'm going to trade the rooks off. And then with the rook versus the queen, this is a very likely looking fortress position. Here what I do is I put my rook to e3 and I move my king back and forth. It's a fortress. Remember, the queen cannot checkmate by herself, so the king would have to advance. And that's the whole idea. With the rook, well, I guess best place would be a rook on f4 and the pawn on g3. The king cannot advance forward to get inside my fortress, and my king just kind of moves back and forth. And so that was my idea. And fortunately for me, I don't think he considered this because, well, the trades start coming. He played bishop takes b4, I played rook g3, and already I had this idea coming. He played bishop d6, perfect. Check, takes, rook to f3 check, rook to c3. Just a lame idea about trying to pin it and win it. He saw this, of course, and played rook e8, but this is exactly what I want. I want to trade off the rooks. Rook c6, rook check, rook takes, queen takes, and now rook to e3. At this point, the computer is giving this a -2 position. Not too bad here considering, well, I'm down basically a queen. But you can see his only prospect to try and win this position is to get the pawn across the board or deliver checkmate, which means running the king forward. Here he comes. King h5, g3, trying to hold the position. King g4. Now, if the king does get to h3, things can get bad because this is the checkmate square here on g2. And maybe f2 can even get weak here too. So king h2. Now my weaknesses are f2 and b3. And so the idea here would be for me to just kind of move my king back and forth if possible. But if I can't, I need to find a way for my rook to move back and forth. Queen c2 here, a nice move. King g2. Pawn to a5. Rook to e5 here. A nice little idea saying, hey, the game won't be as easy as you think. Here he has to worry about being checkmated now too, which leaves only one move for him. Queen c6 check. King h2, and queen b6. Another double attack against b3 and on f2. Makes sense to me. Of course, if you go rook g5 check, well, this king can run forward here. So, simple chess, I went ahead and played king g2, queen c6 check, king h2, king to f3, and now I just take the pawn on e5. This was his last chance here. And yes, taking on f2 will win the pawn. Losing b3 is bad here, but here, once my rook gets back to f4, the fortress is on, and there's no way to actually break through. The game continued with king takes f2, rook f5 check, king e3, rook f4, game over. And this is really the only only good way to play here. Queen takes on b3, and here I can definitely try to play for a win by pushing the pawns forward. But well, at this point he had 7 minutes versus my 4 minutes, so I'm very happy for a draw here. I believed at this point I did offer a draw, and he declined it, which is respectable. And well, he just kept trying to make some checks. So it's up to me just to prove that it is a draw. So king h3, queen d1, check. Again, try not to move the rook. Just move your king back and forth. The king cannot penetrate, and the only way that you can really try to win these ones is if you have an extra pawn on the side here, and maybe you can trade your queen off for the rook. Unfortunately, this is not one of those positions. King g2. Queen d1. Again, just kind of fishing around here with some queen moves. Rook f4. Here, probably best. Well, actually, computer does like rook f6 the best here, too. Rook f6 comes with a cheap shot of playing to rook to e6. And, well, when your opponent's low on time, why not play these kind of moves? Queen d1. king g2, queen d5 check, king h3. I mean, he could check here on h1. I don't think he ever did, but queen check on h1 will allow me to play king g4, and maybe I can start pushing these pawns forward. If anything, I have chances to win in this position, assuming that he's just doing random checks. And actually, this is what happened in the game. So check, king g4, queen d1 check, and I just played the king back to h3. Again, I did not want to push for a win and play something like king to g5. Playing something like king g5 already gives black an advantage with something like queen to d8 for the pin. And now I have to get out the pin. And so things start to get a little bit messy here. King g6. Here we go. Queen g8 check, and the pawn on g3 will be lost. The fortress is not over yet, but again, trying to make progress here will actually just bring me to a bad position. So after king h3, he offered the draw, which I graciously accepted. This was a very tough game. I'm very happy to have held this draw to a very strong player. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video.